Hello there, it's Steve-O here from the Elite FPL podcast, and as ever, I'm bored out my mind and I feel like doing a solo podcast because, as I say, I can, and I just really genuinely enjoy doing these solo podcasts. I have so much fun doing them, but I have some interesting information for you. But what I'll do is I'll reveal all that information in a minute when we get a bit more active in the chat and everything. But myself, Dan and Jason have actually just had a really interesting meeting together, to be honest with you. We've been discussing, obviously, the future of Elite FPL. Bit of news to share with you guys too. The main idea behind the meeting was actually for Jason to set up the overlay on Dan's laptop. So Dan potentially could do a live stream on his laptop solo wise. We're trying to figure out if he can actually do it or not. I believe it looked like he potentially could, but his laptop would be running really slow. So don't quote me on any of the details per se, but what I will say is that in the near future, Dan could be doing a live stream solo by himself, and he'll have just like the layout here. So I'm really looking forward to him doing that. If not, he will absolutely be making a draft video, as he did the other day. But yeah, I'm going to see if anybody's... I've just put in the Discord group that I'm going live. I know a few people said that they won't be able to do anything whatsoever, and I'm going to try and actually be a bit more interactive live with you guys rather than just sticking on the Fantasy Premier League site and not actually know what's going on. So I'm going to quickly look in chat now while I can and grab the cursor. I can go up and I can find out what's going on. So Cameron Rawcliffe, good evening. Now Cameron Rawcliffe, aka the FPL Kid, has a bit of celebrating today because not that he's up to 1,000 followers on Instagram. No one cares about that. But he I believe he received, or he's going to be receiving soon, his exclusive Elite FPL mug that Jason designed for him because he won the price predictor game that we played a few weeks back. Cameron won it, and Jason kindly made him an exclusive Elite FPL mug. So when it gets delivered and everything, hopefully FPL Kids, you'll be able to show your 1,000 Instagram followers the mug itself with you holding up, drinking a cup of tea basically. But no, that's awesome. We're glad we sent something like that. It's just to show our appreciation for the support that people like yourself give us. Sultan Saeed, welcome to the scene. G-Wiz is here. Rezi Dezel, JP Goss, hey Steve-O, what's the news about SoundCloud? Right, so now this is going to be something new, and you guys may be thinking, here we go, what's all this about? Something new? Take a look at this, guys. Look what I've got up on screen now. It's all thanks to Jason. Look at that. It's your Discord group. So this is going to be a completely live experiment now, okay? And what I want you guys to know about is that you're going to be part of an experiment this evening. So I'm hoping to get somebody, if not a couple of you, onto the show live to chat. Okay? I'm going to try and go through everything with you on screen if you're unsure about what's going on. Jason's gone through the most basic instructional guide to for me on how to do this voice chat and everything. I've got my headphones, so for anybody that's watching, here's my headphones here. It's all good, so there's going to be no feedback, hopefully. We did this experiment the other day on FPL Boona's interview. If no one has seen FPL Boona's interview, and I'm surprised because Boona, I've seen you in chat. Your video got over 1,000 views. Well done, nice one, mate. And if no one didn't realise that we've done an interview with FPL Boona, regular contributor to not just our stuff, but the FPL community in general on Twitter, that he did an interview with us. So if you want to check out his video, go check it out. But so Jason told me that I've got to officially use the app, so I'm going to hope that this works. I'm praying it does. So here, where it says waiting room, if anybody wants, I'll give you, we're not doing it now, okay? So don't even bother going into the waiting room now. But all you got to do is, my understanding is, and for anybody that's in chat that's a bit more knowledgeable about this, Daily Llama, FPL Booner, I'm kind of looking at you guys, but my understanding is if you're in the Discord group, you just simply click on the waiting room, and then I'll know that you want to come on the show and speak live, not just to me, but the audience, which is going to be a completely brand new experiment that I am willing to do tonight. If it goes completely messed up like it did the other day, I can only apologise, but I can't see it because me and Jason have just gone through it, and it just seemed to work really, really well. So I'm hoping, now I'm going to test this for myself here. I've just gone to poll vote, and what's going on here? Straight away a complete mess up. Well, there was a poll in there, so I don't know where that's disappeared to, but basically Jason had put up a poll in this section here, and basically it's disappeared, and I have no idea why it's disappeared, to be honest with you. But in answer to the individual's question, and I apologise, I've completely forgotten your name already. JP Goss. News about the Soundcloud. Right, so you may be wondering what on earth is JP Goss going on about. Basically, and by the way, my tester, Jason, you'll be pleased to know, has worked. So basically, we've been having a couple of requests about are our podcasts available on some form of audio format, i.e. in this case SoundCloud, and the answer at the time was unfortunately not. But Jason thought, well, it's a good idea, let's upload this stuff to SoundCloud. The problem is that our videos, especially mine, but let's be honest here, all our streams are a minimum of an hour and a half, a minimum. And obviously, that's a lot longer than the 89 minutes that SoundCloud allow you to upload for free. So my basic understanding is that SoundCloud, if you want to upload more than 89 minutes worth of audio, you've got to pay a monthly fee. So basically subscribe. So we were having a meeting earlier on about whether it's worth doing this for the amount of money that it would cost. We also put up a poll. That's why we put the poll up on the Discord, because we need the hardcore community to let us know if they want. We even did it on Twitter as well. We need these people to know if it's worthwhile doing it on SoundCloud or not, and the very simple answer is this. The majority are saying no, and I'm one of those no people. I just think that for the time being, we as much as we'd love to put it on SoundCloud, the fact that our streams are so long, we think that for the amount of money that will cost, it's not really worth it. But for future reference points, I would definitely say that it will happen at some point. The bigger this channel grows, the more likelihood that we're going to put this on SoundCloud. But for now, we're just sticking to, well, obviously YouTube, basically. So, yeah, apologies for anybody that does want it on SoundCloud. But we've just made the decision that, along with you guys, really, that we don't really need to do it. But, blimey, there's a lot of activity in chat already. Why aren't you in bed? Daily Llama's here. Daniel Simpson's here. Good evening. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Alex Summerson, good afternoon. John Harris, welcome. Clement LaRue. By the way, I may play a little bit of a game. So, funny you mentioned SoundCloud, actually. Well, whether you're aware or not, Jason has brilliantly set up an Elite FPL website, which is elitefpl.com. It's only at its beginning stages, but what he has done is he has uploaded every single video we've done and archived it onto, obviously, a menu within that page on that website. And me personally, I've decided, right, because it's so easy to access, that I'm going to literally start listening to every single podcast that we've ever uploaded onto YouTube. So to give you basic context, the very first video that we uploaded to YouTube was Game Week 4 last year. Now then, a question for you guys in chat. So everybody watching this now, a very popular member of the Elite FPL community, okay, has been with us basically since day one. Okay, I want you guys to name that person. So it's a popular member of the community. They're a regular. They may be watching now. They may be in. They may be watching later on. They may join the chat later. I have no idea. But there's a popular member of the Elite FPL community that has been with us since day one, and it isn't FPL Booner. Okay, so who will get it right is the simple question. So just for a bit of fun for 30 seconds, if you want to guess at which popular member has been with us since basically day one. And the reason why I say day one is because this individual was mentioned, I think it was our game week 6th or 7th podcast. And I was like, no way, this individual's been there since then. Wow. So yeah, or just a bit of fun, nothing serious. We don't win it. You don't win an Elite FPL mug, basically. But Gutam, I'm aware that you said that you may not be able to join us live specifically, but you've come in the chat anyway. So good evening, Alan Ward here. This is my team, barring Janssen. So the team up on screen now isn't my team, and you may be thinking, oh, a minute, but it's on your screen. Yeah. For the hardcore watchers of this show, this is actually the team which I built up, which is what I believe to be the hardcore FPL community template team. And interestingly enough, when I was rewatching this stream, I saw Notorious Nerd, and he isn't the popular member. That's been there since day one. But Notorious Nerd asked a very interesting question. He said, what exactly do you classify as a hardcore FPL player? Well, the simple answer is this. Number one, if you're tuning into streams like this, that's number one. Number two, if you're either active on Twitter or you use Twitter on a regular basis, that's another one. Obviously from a fantasy football perspective. If you use the fantasy football scout site, I would say that you're a relatively hardcore member. And also, let's be honest here, if you're pretty much constantly using the fantasy football game itself, if you're constantly on it all the time. But usually I classify the hardcore audience for me as people that are willing, like yourselves, to tune in to somebody talking all things fantasy football along with you guys, and just basically getting the information that you want. And obviously watching YouTube content creators. But that's basically the team up on the screen now. That's what I classify as the FPL community template team as of now. Now I am going to be doing a different team today, and I am actually going to be choosing different players. But we'll just quickly scroll through who's in chat again. Richard S, good evening. Oh, Cameron Rawcliffe saying about the Elite FPL mug. It's not actually here at the moment, but hopefully tomorrow. I hope it does come along. It'd be really fun to see him. I'm pretty sure Jason put some witty kind of a quote on there or something. I'm pretty sure it's something like, I'm the price predictor king or something, but it's going to be something unique basically. And I've already mentioned FPL Booner in chat. I'm going to butcher this name. This is my favourite line, by the way, butchering people's names. Nawal Ben Lamellam. Again, apologies. Welcome to the stream. Good evening there. Var, good evening. Welcome to the chat. Clement Rue, I'm pretty sure you're here. Ramsey Sinclair, good afternoon. But yeah, let's see if any of you guessed the name of the person who has been with us virtually since day one, really. So a few guesses here coming in. Simon Bellamy. Chris Judge is here. Welcome, Chris Judge. A bit of a late stream for me. Is it Daily Llama? No, it's not. Well. The person is in chat and he's actually replied with, now that is a tough one. Now, unless he's being sarcastic or not, the answer is this. Vince Chapman, you are the guy who we mentioned for the first time on our stream or our video. You were the first person who we mentioned on one of our videos. So, based on that basic bit of research, you are our number one fan. FPL Boone is just crying his eyes out like, welcome FPL Yeah Pitch. Hello there. FPL Boone is thinking, but it's me. I know there's another person as well that we also mention on a regular basis. But what I will say regarding Brett Mollison is that Brett Mollison was our very first person to... I actually mentioned it on the Discord group. I wonder if I could get this up. Oh, this will be something different. Can I get this up? Oops, let's blind that out. I wonder if I can get this up. But because you guys are so active in the Discord group, I don't think I'll be able to find it. I really don't think I'll be able to find it. Oh, why can't I go up for? Where's the general bit? I've completely come. Now this is when you guys are screaming at me, thinking, "What are you doing, you idiot?" Just come out of that. Don't worry about that. Right. That ain't working for me. Forget that. But basically, I put up a picture. I screenshotted a picture of the stream where we very, very, very first had an overlay like this. So it had the live chat on the right-hand side. You know, the usual setup. On the left, it was our faces, and in the middle, it was the main page and everything. And Brett Mollison was the very, very first person to communicate with us on that specific stream. And he had some really nice words, and he said it earlier on, to be honest with you. He was just making the point that he really, really enjoys the channel. He really, this is the key line for me, really enjoys the community that we've built. And it's words like that which really strike a chord with me. And yeah, but I know there's a load of you, obviously, that I've been part of this channel since virtually day dot, and again, it's the usual thing of I cannot thank you enough. But doing this research through the videos that I've been doing, I will say this, that this Cash Mini League that we've set up, and Jason's getting a lot of contacts. What I can tell you is that there are officially in our Cash Mini League 15 people officially signed up. Okay, so that's 15 people. So the end date that Jason has set up to join our Cash Mini League is on the... I don't really want to be advertising it much on here. We only really want to be advertising through Discord. I should have put a disclaimer there. But basically, Jason wants to have the end date to get all submissions in, or basically payments, sorry, I should clarify that, payments in by Thursday the 8th of August, which of course is the day before game week 1. So I'll say this for one more time, which is Thursday the 8th of August to get your submissions in regarding the Cash Mini League, and you will be, what's the word? I've forgotten the word. But the point being is that Jason will overlook if you can be accepted or not into our Cash Mini League. The entrance fee for... I can't read that person's name. Hold on a minute. Let me just go back on here for a second. All the way down here. Someone's just asked a question about how much it is. I'll tell you, it's £10. The entrance fee is £10. Okay? So, that's the entrance fee. But all details will be in the Discord. There is a... I wonder if I could find that, actually. That would help people here, to be honest with you. Where am I doing here? Right, let's get back to the... Let's get back to this screen here. I wonder if this will work. all you can see is a bunch of arrows. It's brilliant, isn't it? Somewhere on here there should be a... Oh, there we are. Right. So you see this here on screen in the Discord group. So obviously if you're part of this Discord group, you'll know what we're talking about. You go to this sign up here. Okay. You go on and click on the link here. It's all typed out by Jason. Click on the link obviously and it will take you through the submission form, and away you go. It literally takes 30 seconds. Okay, so that shouldn't be too difficult for anybody, but again, I don't really want to be talking about that live on air, so that's that out of the way. That's that bit of information gone, so to speak. Like I said, if you want any more information on that specific Cash Mini League, talk about it in the Discord group and we'll be able to give you all the information that is required. So let's just quickly get back to chat for a second. There's loads of you in here. Again, I'll do the joke again. Why aren't you all in bed? But yeah, like I said, the reason why I wanted to do this quick, I say quick, we all know what's going to happen here 2 hours later. But the reason why I wanted to do this quick solo podcast is because, like I said, I was a bit bored and I've been, again, it's the classic thing of I've been infused by a live stream that went out last night, and we'll give them a plug. Like I like to do on these streams. I think it's always worthwhile doing plugs per se. And it was the FPL Wildcats last night. They did a stream last night. And it was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed... Now, I'm assuming you're aware of the FPL Wildcats. It's a group of 4 people, 4 individual YouTube content creators. You all know who they are. And they get together once a month. And last night was their first ever show. So it's at FPL Nim, at JNO, at Curtioy, and at FPL TV. And we all know the format. All 4 of them just chat FPL. It's very similar to mine, Jason, and Dan's. Basically, it's really, really enjoyable. And they did one the other day, and I got the opportunity to listen to it. It's brilliant. So go check it out, is what I say. Yeah, straight back to chat quickly. And... whoops. I'll straight back to chat for a second. See what you guys want to talk about, shall we? Well, FPL won't be able to join this evening, unfortunately. By the way, if anybody has any questions for me regarding all things at whatchamacallit? What was he really? Tic Tac, good evening there. Welcome to the stream. I didn't realise that. So John Harris is making... I'll get John Harris. You're talking about the Elite FPL mug you still haven't received. Have you sent? You don't need to tell me on here, but all I'll say is this: have you sent him your address? So if I'll get onto him tomorrow or something. But basically, I would say just resend your address and away you go. Basically. A load of people just basically asking about the individual who's been here since day one. FPL yeah pitch with a fantastic comment. Really appreciate that. I've just watched your 2-hour stream. Yeah, I will put this out here right now that these streams are long. I personally love them. I mentioned this to JNO about his Wildcat stream last night. I said that I wish he went on for another hour. I personally think that streams are superb. I think the reason why I go on so long is because of you guys. I think you guys are just absolutely superb. I think the interaction is just fantastic. And because you guys keep the chat going, I can keep chatting, and there's always something different to talk about. So basically, I will just keep talking while we're all invested in this game. And I really appreciate you watching that whole 2-hour stream, because that really was predominantly just one huge long advert regarding all things Discord, and I can't even think of the top of my head now what I was speaking like, to be honest with you. But like I say, I always listen back for research purposes, try and work out what I've done right, what I've done wrong. I do a lot of I learn from the feedback that I get as well, and I act on it. So thank you for tuning in for that 2-hour stream, because it was long, but I really enjoyed it. So so Resi Desi asking about the Cash Money League. Yeah, just go to the Discord, and I would just say all information is in that specific stream, in that app. Jack Gleason, welcome to the stream. Hello, welcome again. You came in the other day. Thank you so much. Saying that he's barely started properly. Currently having 4 Man United players somehow. Got Wan-Bissaka before he turned into a United player. Brilliant. Oh, that was an interesting question. What was that there by somebody called Chub? Blimey, there is lots of chat in here. This is brilliant. Gotta say, thank you for tuning in live. This is just brilliant for all you just to spend your evening with me. Peter Respecki, Tielemans versus Perez? Question mark. Well, the simple answer is Tielemans. I'm basing that on the fact that Perez is new to the team. He wasn't really that impressive for Newcastle. And it's all a question of where Rodgers plays him, and whether it's going to be just behind Vardy or out on the wing. But I think definitely Tielemans, especially the fact that he's 6.5, which again, surprise, surprise, underpriced in my opinion. I think he should have been 7 personally for the returns that he got. Mark Byrne, sort of new to this. What's your highest ranked Steve-O? Oh God, what do I say? Do I like? No, it's 4,200th, and that was back in 2011, 2012. In fact, why don't we bring it up? Let's see where I was ranked. My average rank is about 50,000th per season, to be honest with you. So, where was I ranked last? My team. Game week history. 4,209th. And I forget who tweeted out, but someone tweeted out a very, a tweet that I had to reply with. So they asked, we're playing a game and whoever wins will win X amount of money. And basically, we want you to send in the rank that you feel you're going to end up next season. And whoever's closest to the rank that they predict wins the amount of money. And I just put up a thing where basically every season I do bad, do well, do bad, do well, do bad. You get the idea. So last season I did well. So this season I'm going to do absolutely appallingly. I reckon I think I put something like 120,000th or something. So yeah, but my average rank is about 50,000th, to be honest with you. It's pretty solid. I base my game on real life raw data. So for example, if a player is doing really, really well, I just get them in. I mean, I know that's stating the blinking obvious, but there are so many people that just, buy on stats alone, which don't actually come to fruition, and they just stick to specific players based on stats rather than actually focusing on players which have actually done really, really well. Back into chat, here we go. This is the best thing about chat, is the fact that Daily Llama advertised in Discord that if you are in Discord and you're actually thinking of wanting to potentially join me, well, there's no potential about it, be part of an experiment which should go to plan and come live on the air and just, well, give me your opinion on fantasy football this year, ask me a question, whatever. The point being is that your voice, you will literally be live to everybody watching, so they'll all be able to hear you, which is all fun and games, really. Here we go, all the way down here. Rudy Elkford, Vardy as a lone striker in a 4-5-1. Wow, yeah. Can't knock it. I think it's a really good option there. I don't like Leicester's fixtures though. Leicester's fixtures, I personally think, aren't that great. That's why I'm kind of holding off Tielemans. I mean, if we bring up Leicester now, let's just quickly look at their fixtures. I don't really like them, to be honest with you. Although, ironically, isn't it, that Vardy does really well versus the top teams. But Wolves at home, Chelsea away, Sheffield United away, Bournemouth at home, then Man U, Tottenham away and at home. I mean, if you're willing to spend 9 million on him and you find that you have a really strong midfield and a strong back four, yeah, go for it. I think there are better... If you're going to go with a lone striker, for me, I think Harry Kane or Aubameyang, Aguero are more better picks as a standalone striker, but I fully appreciate the fact that you're wanting to save money. Even Callum Wilson or Callum Wilson certainly, as a lone striker, but again, because they play for non-top 6 teams, you're kind of like waiting on when they'll actually score for you, whereas someone like Aguero, Aubameyang, Kane, although FPL Booner did make the point that the fact that Son will not be starting the first 2 games, he fears that it will mean that Kane will play a deeper role because Lucas Moura plays a bit more further advanced and Kane feels he has to drop deeper, something on words to that effect. So yeah, maybe Aubameyang and Aguero. Keep scrolling down. So I'm just looking through the chat here. Let's looking at just seeing some. Oh, here we are. There's the question that I was looking for. Shaban, everyone's team seems kind of template at the moment. Yep. Can't wait for pre-season to shake things up a bit. I completely concur with that. I mean, like I say, there's not much you can actually do regarding team selection other than picking the quote-unquote popular players. Like I said, on the screen right now is what I classify as the hardcore FPL community team. And by the way, talking of community team, I've got some really good info for you guys. That reminds me, Daily Llama, I was going to reveal some exclusive news for the hardcore elite community members, people like yourself, Booner, Vince Chapman, etc., John Harris. And you're going to be very, very interested with this news and it regarding your community team that you guys will be creating. So, yeah, John Harris just kind of mentioning the point about template team, everybody on the same points after game week 1. I've always stood by this point that, thankfully, this is kind of a good thing that of the 6 million people that play this game, only about what I think is about 250 to 350,000 people watch content like this or YouTube tip content. So I think that basically that it will be about 200,000 of us all having the same team. I'm not going to lie, there are a few tipster ones that I like to watch and I go into panic mode. I've already told you my basic anecdote about Block FPL, when he put up his video with Jason, and I went into like complete panic mode, like, Christ, block FPL, he ended 50th last year and he's got a 3-4-3. Why aren't I doing that? It's ridiculous. And something I've been learning from my research based on the old podcast is this, and I'm stating the obvious. I am absolutely sticking with my guns. I'm sticking to my plan. I'm sticking with my gut, especially because there are so many times listening back to these podcasts where I'm just like, I told the viewer to do this. I said to I'll give you an example. The one example being that Sterling did really well against Bournemouth last year. Don't ask me what he did specifically, but he did really well versus Bournemouth. And I said that during our preview and our predictions, I said that, well, the history is suggesting that Sterling is going to have a really, really good game because he has scored X amount of goals versus Bournemouth. And I said, I'm going to captain him. But of course, like with everything, and I said basically that if you are going to captain someone, you've got to captain Sterling. Well, comes to that specific game week, did I captain him? No, I go with a safe option in Aguero, and Aguero doesn't even go anywhere near what Sterling did. But Dan, however, on that specific stream, did go with that advice. And I think he got 21 points, so 42 as captain. So he got 42 points in that specific game week. So yeah, it's really, really interesting listening back to my own thought processes, not going through with it. And the interesting ones as well, for example, is I put up a tweet about how last year, if you remember, everybody was banging on about double Man City defence and how important. This was at the start of the season, but just to clarify this is at the start of the season. Everybody was banging on about having double Man City defence, and that was the way forward. But they kept conceding like the odd goal here and there, but you had to stick with them to get their clean sheets. Well, I, during the podcast, was someone that was a pioneer to having the double Liverpool defence in Trent and Robertson. And throughout I think it was like game week 7, 8 and 9, I was getting really, really frustrated at the fact that Klopp was benching either Trent and Robertson, and I felt that was impacting the lack of clean sheets, or the fact that neither one of them would play and only I would get the clean sheet from one of them rather than both. And then I think it was game week 11 or 12 podcast that I did with Dan and Jason that my plan paid off. And I forget who it was against, but basically I had Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I captained Salah, and it threw me up the ranks. And for me, something that I'm going to stick to is like I said, my team structure. I don't want to, just because after game week 1, for example, let's just take this season coming up, that game week 1, I've got double Liverpool defence. It probably will be Van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold, to be honest with you. But I've got double Liverpool defence. They concede to Norwich, and I'm like, right, that does it. Rip up my paper. My plans have gone out the window. And then the following game week, they get a clean sheet. And I'm not backing my own advice. So something I'm definitely sticking to is, Steve-O, just stick with your damn gut. And that's advice I'd give to everybody on here. I know it's bloody difficult when you're watching or listening to so much content regarding fantasy football. No one's ever going to be right. No one's ever going to be wrong. But you've got to make your own decisions. And I think that's the biggest thing that people don't do, is make their own decisions. And yeah, I get it. There's stating the obvious advice. For example, captaining Aguero versus Newcastle because his record versus Newcastle is phenomenal. Well, that makes logical sense. If Aguero blanks, you can't have a go at the person who's giving you basic advice and say, well, hold on a minute, you told me Aguero was going to score, but he didn't. I should have captained this. Well, I'm not here, but other YouTube creators that are here to advise, you just take it with a pinch of salt and go, and if you want to take that information on board, you take it on board. If not, go with whatever you got to say. Anyway, after speaking for that long, let's get back to the community again. Ramsey Sinclair asking, anyone looking at Villa attack? Their first 9 fixtures are very decent. Wesley, anyone looking at this lad? I don't know much about him. All I can tell you about Wesley is that I read an article about him, and he is my basic understanding is he's a hold-up player and likes to bring in other players. So actually, ironically, in fact, let's bring up Aston Villa, shall we? So, here we are. So Aston Villa, so you say they've got decent opening fixtures. They're a newly promoted team. I'm always wary about newly promoted teams. Here we go. Tottenham away, that's not easy. I've got that down as a 2-0 loss. Potentially a Kane captain option there. If you're buying Harry Kane, I think Harry Kane could be a really good option. Or, they mentioned it on the FPL Wildcats last night, Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura, a player that's been overlooked. I know FPL Boona has him in his team. Maybe Lucas Moura could get that. Another hat-trick that he seems to be able to get. Bournemouth at home, Everton at home, Crystal Palace away, West Ham at home, Arsenal away, and so on and so forth. Yeah, the fixtures are nice. It's just how will Aston Villa adapt to the Premier League? That's about as simple as it gets. Based on Wesley, I think that what I read, like I said, about being a hold-up player, 6 million is a lot of money. And funny enough, James of Planet FPL podcast, he made a jokey point that he thinks that Wesley's going to be overpriced because of the fact that Villa have paid, 25 million for him. And to be honest with you, when I read an article and it basically said he does nothing other than hold up the ball and gets players in around him, maybe if you are interested in Aston Villa, it's players like Hourihane, Grealish or McGinn that I've heard a lot about. So if you're willing to take a punt on an Aston Villa midfielder of McGinn, Grealish or Hourihane, maybe they're the ones to jump on board with. But for me, I'm not interested in Aston Villa. In fact, for me, I always like sticking with Premier League experienced players. In fact, that's another thing that I found really interesting on a old podcast we did. I think it was like Game Week 11. And the debate was about Sigurdsson and Richarlison. So it was Game Week 11 last year. And we're having this debate at the start of the season, in pre-season, about who to choose between Richarlison and Sigurdsson because they're the same price. Well, basically, what I said in the podcast last year, and I'm saying the same thing as this for this year, which is this: Sigurdsson is just your steady point scorer throughout the whole season. He's somebody which every other game, so 1 in 2 games, he'll get you either a goal or some form of attack and returns, basically, every 2 games. Whereas someone like Richarlison, he is a more explosive player. And we all know his history, which is the fact that he always starts the season so well. So I'm seriously thinking, actually, do I get Richarlison in for the start of the season based on his explosive prowess, like for the first 10, 11, 12 game weeks, and then move on to Sigurdsson? But the debate that I was having on last year was, well, if you want a consistent point scorer, get Sigurdsson. If you want someone that's going to blank for about 4 or 5 games, but then will come out with like a double-digit score and like a 15-point haul or whatever, Richarlison's your man. So for me, I may actually get in Richarlison ahead of Sigurdsson. But again, I'm not doing anything really with this team really until game week 1 when we've got all information at hand. I mean, even my goalkeepers, I'm getting rid of Ryan. I'm definitely, based on someone that I was speaking to yesterday, it looks like Henderson, who was on loan at Sheffield United last year, will be joining them again this season. He'll come in at 4.5, and I'm definitely going to get Henderson in of Sheffield United. Zaha, I'm going to be getting in Brooks. Oh, and something else I heard today, interestingly enough. And it was actually on Davey FPL's latest video. Big up to Davey FPL. He made a very interesting point about Emerson. You may be thinking, Emerson? What are you interested in him for? Well, Davey FPL made the point that actually... Let's get Davey FPL up here. For anybody that doesn't know who Davey FPL is. Here he is. So he released a video today. It's a bit of fun. It's just going through his best attacking... that's it. Top 8 best attacking and defensive teams to be choosing from for the start of the season. But yeah, so Davey made a point that Frank Lampard has actually come out and said that he's more interested in using Emerson rather than Alonso. So for a 5.5 potentially playing Chelsea player, I mean, that will save me up some funds if I was to maybe hedge my bets a bit and maybe get rid of Van Dijk. I mean, the amount of money that I could save by bringing in... So let's get Emerson up, for example. There he is. Emerson at 5.5. So I've been banging the drum about Azpilicueta. And then bring in David Brooks. David Brooks has been touted as somebody to be bringing in because of the potential mindset that Fraser may have of joining Arsenal or another team. Whoops, wrong pass. So that gives me a saving of that amount, which then leaves me with... Oh yeah, I want to get... let's just stick with him, for example. No, I can't stick with Begovic because I want to get... Sorry about this. Sheffield United, where are you? Sheffield United, just stick him in for now. So this will be Henderson. That'll leave me with 1.5. And then I'd upgrade King to Wilson. Yeah, there we are. So King to Wilson. If I really wanted to, Bournemouth, isn't it? If I really wanted to, I could downgrade Digne to Coleman and then bring in Azpilicueta instead of Emerson for security of starts. But yeah, I really like that team. I'm pretty much settled on a team similar to that. So just to quickly get rid of Digne, get rid of Emerson. Yeah, just to clarify, I'd be getting in... I'd rather have Azpilicueta for security of starts. And then Coleman, because he's 5.5. And let's be honest here, an excellent player. Where's Coleman? There he is. Done. So there we have it. That's what I see as almost my perfect team, give or take. Give or take. The only two positions that I'm very unhappy with is Jensen and Kelly. Because I want to get in a playing 4.5 defender, if I'm honest with you. Because again, something that I was looking back at on my history with the old Elite FPL podcast is that bench points. And something that happened a lot with Jason was the bench points. Jason was getting a hell of a lot off the bench last year, and I'm thinking Martin Kelly ain't going to get any points coming off the bench because he's probably not even going to play. Jensen, no chance. So I'm thinking along the lines of, well, I don't know where to downgrade, but maybe Laporte to Zinchenko. That's another one as well. Laporte to Zinchenko. Although there's been, again, this is what Twitter does. Some of the guys in the Twitter community banging on about, do you really want to get Zinchenko in when he's got Mendy and this new other left back coming in? Well, reports are suggesting Zinchenko, again, this is why pre-season is so important. Zinchenko is, or was anyway, last season he played the last, 13 out of 14 games, and FPL Boona mentioned the fact he read an article that Zinchenko looks like he will be number one. And also he made a point about Mendy not travelling with the squad, interestingly enough. So this then will give me an extra £1 million to spend there. And then I can upgrade Kelly to a 4.5, in which I'd probably get a Burnley asset. Now, Eric Peters joined from Stoke the other day, and I personally think he could be starting. But we'll go with a safe option in Charlie Taylor, which leaves me 0.5, and I'll upgrade him to Fabianski. I like Fabianski, by the way, because his save points and bonus points. In fact, again, sorry to keep banging on about it, it's just a fact. Jason had Fabianski for a lot of last season, and my goodness, rolling in the points. There was one particular game where Fabianski got him 8 points, and that was just basically down to saves and full bonus point. So he got 3 bonus points, plus he got the save points and his appearance points as well. And on this particular podcast, I was cursing the fact that he had Fabianski, whereas I had, funny enough, Matt Ryan on the bench. Matt Ryan. Did he do anything? Nah, of course he didn't. I've got a big grudge against Matt Ryan. But yeah, that team there is different. Now again, I could easily... I think what will happen is I'll downgrade Fabianski to Henderson and upgrade Coleman to Digne. I'm relatively happy with this team. Maybe Sigurdsson to Richarlison could happen, but I'm pretty much set on that team, to be honest with you. I'm relatively happy, but let's see what's happening with you guys in the chat, because I know there's loads of you out here tuning in and watching. This is just absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining in on this very, very... I mean, it's 10 o'clock for crying out loud. I'm normally in bed by now, but yeah, let's scroll all the way down to the bottom. Let's catch up with the live chat. Well, this is an interesting point. Stephen J. Shotton, not Ryan Shotton. Remember Ryan Shotton last year, or the year before for Stoke, that 4 million player? Here's my early draft, having watched a lot of FPL content. So, it's Edison and Button, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, and a combo of 1 from 3. A 4.5 Watford, Lascelles, Target's a good choice, I think. And then Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, Sigurdsson, Tielemans, Dendoncker, Vardy, King, Calvert-Lewin. Nice. I like that. That's really, really nice. I don't like, this is just my personal opinion because he trolled me last year. I don't like Calvert-Lewin based on last year because he trolled me, but like that a lot. It's good. Daniel Jaman, Edison, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Digne, Zinchenko. Are you copying my team here? Sigurdsson, Salah, Sterling, Dendoncker. And then Wilson and King as his top 2. Very similar to the team I've got up on screen, actually. But yeah, very nice. Although I wouldn't be relying on Dendoncker. As a point scorer. But again, at the end of the day, he's only a 4.5. Super Duper Dan. Nick Pope. Yep, looks like he'll be the number 1 for Burnley. Zinchenko. A lot of love for Zinchenko, interestingly. Robertson, Digne, Salah, Zaha, Sigurdsson, Pereira. Don't see many of him. And then look at that front 3. Kane, King and Vardy. Nice. Not seeing many King and Kane heavy hitting defenders. Strikers. Excellent. Aki Prang Parang. Two goalkeepers he's going with 4.5s. And the defensive, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Emerson, Coleman, Zinchenko and Taylor. Nice. Midfielder of Kevin De Bruyne, Mane, doubling up on Man City. I like the Mane pick, although what I will warn you about is that there's a chance that he may not play game week 1. There's a chance. Sigurdsson, Dendonka, attack of King, Jota and Xander, whoever the hell that is. I'm afraid I don't know who that is. Yeah. That's the person's name, by the way. I'm not just saying yeah for the sake of it. Foster, Trent Alexander-Arnold, another Zinchenko owner, Azpilicueta, Coleman. So you're going with a 4 at the back. Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, Maddison, not mentioned in many teams. Moura, that's good. Oh, nice. Kane and King up top. You see, this is what I mean. Nice. We're not all going with this template team, which is cool to know. I think, guys. What do you reckon? Shall we try out this Discord chat? Oh, I'll answer that question. That's nice. Papa Smurf, welcome to the stream. Hello there. Can one player up front be a feasible strategy, Steve-O? Well, I don't want to keep banging on about it, but I will. Last season, game week 12, me and Jason were having an argument. not the fucking nasty argument, just a normal disagreement with each other. And we were discussing the fact that I wanted to have only one heavy-hitting striker. So this is game week 12 last season. And upgrading my midfield so I could have Sterling, Hazard and Salah, which would have mean that I had to downgrade Alonso. And at the time, Alonso was like a must-have. And the debate was about which striker to have out of Aguero, Aubameyang and Kane. And we were just arguing and everything. But last year, we actually had some really other cheap options in Jimenez and Wilson. So Wilson last year was 6 million or 6.5. And Jimenez, as we all know, was 5.5. And we were discussing the fact that basically it's mad. When you look back on it, it's mad to think that in hindsight now, how mad the conversation was that we were debating whether Wilson and Jimenez were worth it. But basically at the time, I was happy to go with a 4-5-1 and have Jimenez and Wilson as my bench. So I think it's feasible, but you're going to have a very, very strong midfield, I think. And also, in fact, let's just do it live, shall we? Let's just do a live 4-5-1 formation or 3-5-2 or whatever combination you feel like going with. But if we were to go with a 4-5-1 as an example, so we'll get rid of Charlie Taylor, Janssen, Jota, bring in, for example, Harry Kane as your main man up front. So that leaves you with 4.5 between two players. I mean, just based on this, I'm not suggesting for one. Oh yeah, Wilson, get rid of him. Whoops. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that you would have Harry Kane as your up front striker, but you're going to want a player which is guaranteed to start for their team. And for 11 million, he's the cheapest premium striker out of he's the same price as Aubameyang. But Aubameyang and Aguero and Kane are your three main premium heavy hitting strikers. And I'd personally have Kane. And if you're looking at 4.5 strikers, so you're looking at what? Spurs is Jensen. So Jensen there. Add him. Would that make sense? It would, wouldn't it? Because I'd have 8 million. So I could get in a 8 million 4 million playing or non-playing in Kelly of Crystal Palace. Downgrade Fabianski to just say Hennessy as an example, just for argument's sake. And then you've got 4.5 to play with. Isn't Connor Wickham 4.5? Yes, he is. Brilliant. Now, the downside to this team is what? The fact that your 5 midfielders... I mean, yeah, you could downgrade one of these 3 heavy-hitting defenders, but that's the problem. That's the issue with going with a 4-5-1, in my opinion, is that you've got to downgrade one of your premium defenders to upgrade Dendonka or whatever your 5th quote-unquote rubbish midfielder is. I mean, let's just do that for an example. Let's get rid of Azpilicueta. And let's just bring in a 4.5 defender. Simple option being Burnley. Bring in Charlie Taylor for 4.5. Which leaves you then to bring in 6 million for a midfielder as an example. I mean, I don't know what midfielders come in at 6 million, but let's quickly find out. So, I mean, they're rubbish, aren't they? Pereira, possibly. Let's just throw him in for argument's sake, Pereira. Just because he's one of the higher scorers of that price range. But, yeah, if you're looking at a 4-5-1 formation here, I mean, we'll just confirm team for the sake of it. Just to make it look on screen how you would play it. But give or take, that's how your team would pretty much set up. Done. So that's how your team would set up if you were to go with a 4-5-1 formation, really, for this specific game as it stands with the prices. That's just the most basic one that I could come up with live in the minute or so that I had. Do I like it? Not really. You're going to be relying on... I mean, I'll tell you one of the tips that I certainly... I don't know, I'm 50-50 with it. It'd be interesting to know what you guys think in chat, but a lot of the YouTubers and the community say that you're better off only having 2 premium players, so whether that's in midfield or in the striker position. So a combination of 2 premium midfielders and... start that again. You're better off only having 2 premium players across your team. So a premium midfielder and a premium striker, or 2 premium midfielders or 2 premium strikers. Either way, the idea being that you're able to, number one, maximise the amount of funds across the rest of your team, but also the fact that give or take your premium player will be captained. That's the idea of it. And if you've got 3 premium players, it's such a tough call between who to captain, and because it has such a detrimental effect to your team, that it's better off having just the 2, because at least that way you can actually upgrade various parts of your team. And I personally would rather have Salah and Sterling in my team rather than having a premium striker. But for all we know, Salah and Sterling could be terrible at the start of the season. Again, going back on the history last year, what was happening last year at the start of the season? Well, Salah was 13 million. His price was justified, but he wasn't getting the points. Sterling was being rotated a lot, even though when I looked at the stats, and I was listening to this actually earlier on, he actually played, I think, of the first 12 game weeks, he actually started 9 of them, but he was being substituted quite a lot. And people were getting really, really frustrated at the fact they should have owned Sterling. But then he went and go on and did what he did at Bournemouth. And then it was like, oh my God, I need him. He's a must-have. And that's how fantasy football works. But yeah, that there, I don't know what guys think of this general 4-5-1. But that would be the general consensus, I would think, of what people think that having the one striker would look like in your team. And that's how it would have an effect, basically. Let's go into chat. Let's see what's going on. I want to try and do this Discord, if I'm honest with you. Oh, FPL Boone are making a very good point. I completely agree. McNeil's price for Burnley is too high. I completely concur. 6 million for him. I thought 5.5 was enough of an increase, like a 1 million increase. I wouldn't be getting him in at flaming 5 million. 6 million, sorry. Blimey. Any other points of view here before? I think I'm going to test this Discord out. What do you reckon, guys? Is anyone in the Hangouts at the moment? So, right then. For anybody that's in Discord, okay, we're going to do a live test, okay? I'm kind of looking at FPL Booner or Daily Llama, if I'm honest with you. I'm hoping this will work. If you want to come on the show and talk live to everybody that's watching and be part of an experiment, go into... Oh, wait a minute. To bring it up, don't I? Whoops. Go into the Hangout section. And I'll bring it up now. If you go out to the Hangout section in there and just click on it. Oh, Elite FPL Dan's there. Oh. Does Dan want to speak? That's the question. So I'm going to put my headphones in. I'm wondering if Dan is speaking live to the audience right now. So, Dan, are you there? Hello, Dan. Are you there, Dan? No, you're not speaking. Brilliant, the irony. When you actually want someone in, one of the hosts comes on and... Oh, there we are. It's because you've you muted your mic, mate. I can see Vince Chapman. Well, Vince Chapman was in the Hangout. No, Dan isn't speaking. Fantastic. He's clearly watching live. You can maybe chat in the... what do you call it? The stream if you want. On a minute here. Now you got to unmute your microphone, Dan. I'm assuming there's an option in your... So for people watching live, Dan is in the live section of the particular bit where we get someone to speak, but he's muted his microphone. So these are the complications that people may have. So there's a couple of people in the Hangout at the moment. So what I will say is that please do not swear. This channel isn't like... I don't want people swearing for a start. That's number one rule. I don't really want bad language, but certainly what I want you guys to do if you are wanting to chat is to really just, if you want, either ask me anything that you want or just give your opinion on fantasy football this season. But so FPL Dan's there now. I'm going to see if I drag him in. See if this is working. Constantly going back and forth out of it, which is really, really annoying. let's grab Dan. So he's in the Hangouts. Stick it. Stick him in here. Can you hear me, Dan? Nah, it's not working. Not working at all. Right then. So, oh, Jason. Jason's there as well. I wonder if they're actually speaking to me in the live chat, and maybe this is So Jason's saying, go in your Discord settings and make sure that your audio output is correct. And whereabouts in the audio section it should be correct, because we just did it live a minute ago. I haven't changed any settings whatsoever. So earlier on, I know for a fact that... Wait a minute. I know for a fact this worked earlier because me and Jason actually did this earlier on. But, surprise, surprise, now, the good thing is you can see what I'm doing on screen. That's the main important thing. Let me just see if... Jason, go in your Discord settings and make sure that your audio output is correct. Right, Discord settings. Right, cool. Now I know what you're talking about. Right, so where would the audio settings be? I would like to think, Jason, that this should be all correct. The cog symbol to the right of your name. Which is great for the viewers, isn't it? I'm assuming you mean on here then.